Get this thing to go.
Majority Leader is recognized.
Are we
This time,
streaming?
pursuant
It looks
to
like
Rule
we're
3 of
streaming.
the Senate Rules
Yes.
on
All
Impeachment
right.
in the United States Constitution.
Possible.
The President pro tem emeritus, the senator from Iowa, will now administer the oath to the President pro tem,
How is
Patty Murray.
this? It looks like I'm streaming, but it also looks like I'm not streaming. Am I? Let's check. Shall we? I'm going to go to my channel.
You solemnly swear
Manually.
that all things appertaining to the
I was ready.
trial of
I
impeachment
was
of
ready
Alejandro
to go.
and
It says
Mayorkas,
I'm live.
Secretary of Homeland Security, now pending. You will do impartial justice according to the Constitution and laws, so help you God.
So I think my studio doesn't work if OBS is connected. That's what's going on here. OBS has taken over everything. So this is Mayorkas impeachment trial day 1. And we're just on a 3-minute delay here. This is the best case scenario, I think.
At this time, I will administer the oath to all senators in the chamber in conformance with the Article
fact, we
1,
can
Section
speed it
3,
up until we
Clause
get
6 of the Constitution and the Senate's impeachment rules.
Up to
Will all
date.
senators now stand and raise their right hands? Do you solemnly swear that in all things appertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Alejandro N. Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security, now pending, you will do impartial justice according to the Constitution and laws,
Senators are
so
being
help you God?
sworn in as jurors.
The clerk will now call the names in groups of 4. Senators will present themselves at the desk to sign the oath book.
Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn.
And now they're signing in. Quite the formal process, eh? All right. Finally, my little dashboard started working. So I did not know this. If you're in an OBS and you are streaming, and OBS has taken over responsibilities for the stream, your
Mr.
YouTube
Blumenthal,
your
Mr.
YouTube
Booker,
dashboard isn't
Mr.
going to do
Bozeman,
anything.
Mr. Braun.
They calling them up like school. How's everybody going? Did you miss me? We were streaming this morning. They teased us. you ain't wrong, mathematical analysis. Oh, what happened to the comment? Did you remove your comment? Can we do that? I did not know that. Come on in. You can say what you want here to a limit, right? So this is it. This is the big show. We're going to see what happens. I don't know the sequence of events. Everybody is teasing that they're just
Britt,
going
Mr.
to
Brown,
table
Mr.
the
Budd,
whole
Ms.
thing.
Butler.
So is this, they're going to sign in and then Schumer's going to kick it to the curb, or are they going to hear evidence? I don't know. I don't know. It's exciting. Come on in. If you haven't already, you can like and subscribe. It's free. Those 3 dots in the corner, way up there, that corner. That's how you hit the like button. It doesn't make a ton of sense. I don't know if it's the same on all devices. That's how it is on my device. Let me see if I can start us off here.
Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cardin, Mr. Carper.
There we go. First like of the video. Hey, someone else too. Thank you. Or no, it's just me. That's okay. They are signing in. Look at the guy. You can't quite see him. Who's in the chair? Who's asleep? Hold on. Oh no, they're zooming out on purpose. You saw him, right? Dude right here. Right behind the guy bending over. He is
Mr. Casey,
100%
Mr. Cassidy,
asleep.
Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons.
He might be dead. I don't know. This is the Senate. It's two houses in the United States legislature. At the federal level, that is, the House is the lower house. It consists of representatives that are proportionate to the population of the state. And then there's the Senate. Every state gets 2 senators. Interesting that the procedures to elect the senators have changed. Back in the
Mr.
day,
Cornyn, Ms.
I think
Cortez
the
Masto,
state
Mr.
legislatures,
Cotton, Mr. Kramer.
legislators selected, maybe something like that, and now it's a popular vote thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. I forget exactly how it was done. I wasn't around back then, but it wasn't done the way that we do it today with a popular vote. It's like signing a big old birthday card for the guy at the office who's being impeached. What's going on, chat? Being very quiet. Man, I've been muted the whole time.
Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth.
It's gonna be here for. We're just going very slowly through the alphabetical of it all. So let's chat. Let's talk. What do you think is gonna happen? Hmm? Are we all gonna get closer, be better friends, and grow together as a team? Is that what's gonna happen at the Senate? I don't think so.
Mr. Durbin,
I don't
Ms. Ernst,
think so.
Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher.
Mr. Fetterman. Did Mr. Fetterman dress for the occasion of impeachment? Is he wearing his impeachment hoodie? Oh, there he is. He's in his suit. He almost snuck past me, but he can't really sneak past anybody, can he?
Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty.
Do-do-do-do-do. We're getting there. I didn't realize they'd all be signing in.
Ms. Hassan.
Nonsense
Mr. Hawley,
or procedure.
Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Hickenlooper.
But this is important. All right, we're getting there. It looks like this is... It's going to happen until Schumer does what Schumer does. Whatever that ends up being. Any Schumer fans? I've never met a Schumer fan, so by all means. Mayorkas, Secretary Mayorkas, he is the Department of Homeland Security's chief, the head. So there's a gold around the edge.
Mr. Rono, Mr. Hoven, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson.
Does gold around the flag mean something particularly? I was looking at flags the other day and I put over my shoulder over here. And the gold ones, the ones with the gold fray look nicer. But what does it mean? Mean it's what? So I should probably, pin the Mayorkas impeachment comment. Or is it already pinned? Can I not pin? I'm unable to pin in OBS. What we gonna do? All right, maybe I can go into the... YouTube is complicated.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. King.
Okay. So it does say that I'm streaming. But it's not gonna... Oh, it is giving me the preview. Okay. All right. I can pin my comment now. Bingo. This stream was a mess when it first started. By the way.
Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr.
You gotta
Lujan.
check maritime law. Oh. I didn't realize that. Is that true? Gold around. What's the impeachment for? So there are two charges that the House sent to the Senate. I think it's for willful, like, dereliction of duty. What was the second charge? We can actually... Kennedy
Ms. Lummis,
spelled it out
Mr.
pretty well
Manchin,
yesterday.
Mr. Markey,
Let me see
Mr.
if
Marshall.
I can find the video that I put together. Remembering everything. It's not my Here we go.
A few moments ago, the managers from the United States House of Representatives came over and read their articles of impeachment.
And you should be able to
Their
hear
charges
this.
about Secretary Mayorkas. As I said the other day, we're not talking about some snow bro who likes chicken McNuggets and weed and has an opinion. We're not talking about some game boy who's living in his parents' basement and has an opinion, though both of them are entitled to their opinion. This is America. We're talking about the United States House of Representatives. For months, they investigated the open, bleeding wound that is the southern border. The United States House of
Mr. McConnell, Mr. Menendez, Mr. Merkley, Mr.
The first one is willful and systemic
refusal to comply with the law.
Charge is breach of the public trust.
Breach of the public trust.
You got the
And we're live, by the way. This stream is 100% live now. So, willful and systemic. It's not neglect of duty. What was it? Refusal to comply with the law. And then what was it? Breach of the public trust?
Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray.
I think. So, breach, yeah. And we're moving right along. Who's that? Who we got? I can't tell. Every once in a while, the stream buffers. It's good. We're good. We're there.
Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr.
I think it's on purpose.
Peters.
Just kidding. Do you think it's on purpose sometimes? Do you think they sabotage, say, Marjorie Taylor Greene's mic so it pops more, so it's harder to get a clippable moment? Ugh, I don't want to know what they're doing in those committee rooms. Committee rooms after dark. I'm going to refresh and see if that helps with this. We're live, baby! You know what? It was more live a minute ago. It says it's live, but I just saw this. That's so funny. Allegedly, we're live. They are, okay, they are trying to impeach did I spell it all right? Close enough for government work.
Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Mr. Romney.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Miss Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Sanders.
Sanders with the mask. Ugh. Who needs that anymore? People in New England and California. So weird. Yes, this is taking place in the U.S. Ugh. No good.
Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida.
So, hi. Hey, the Heart. How you doing? Strange days. So there's been 22 impeachments in the Senate history, and all have been carried through, except for in the cases
Mr.
where
Scott of South
the
Carolina,
public official
Mrs.
resigns.
Shaheen, Ms. Sinema,
This case is moot at that
Ms.
point.
Smith.
So, interesting. Why am I just hearing about this, right? So, yeah. This is one of the reasons I started my channel, actually. It's because there's a lot of nonsense going on and not a lot of coverage of that nonsense. And you know, a lot of the YouTube lawyers are covering trials or they're covering, you know, the law. This is actually, you know, this is also part of the law. This is legislating is where the law is made. This is like the root of many of our problems. You know?
Ms. Stabenow,
So,
Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Tester.
and it feels like where are
Mr.
the lawyers
Thune.
covering this nonsense? A lot of them, some of the popular ones on YouTube are insiders, you know? So they're not going to be critical. So that's why you're just hearing about it. The news isn't covering it. Not really. Don't know why. It's salacious. I don't know. It's like they've been compromised in an operation. Mockingbird, maybe?
Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Vance.
Okay. This has been very anticlimactic. When they started to gavel in, I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. And this is not it. This has been very anticlimactic. No, I've never been offered. My channel is very new. I've been on YouTube. I was looking, and it's a channel that I signed up for YouTube 5 years ago. I didn't. I've experimented with YouTube several times before law school, even during, and now. And no one's ever offered me anything
Mr. Warner,
to change the
Mr.
direction
Warnock,
of my channel.
Ms. Warren, Mr.
I'll,
Welch.
if it happens, I'll have a code word. All right, the money's in the banana stand. That's what I'll tell you. Do you think they will be successful? No, it seems like everybody with insider knowledge thinks that this is going to get tabled. So imagine me getting offered something to change the direction of my channel. It'll be very obvious, I think. I don't know. Do I hope to get scooped up by some bigger network that has better resources, or should I stay independent forever? Yeah, the Arrested Development. I'll say
Mr.
something about the
Whitehouse,
banana
Mr.
stand
Wicker,
if
Mr.
I ever get
Wyden, Mr.
snatched
Young.
up. I heard the Daily Wire has a vacancy. Just kidding. I'll take anything. You know? No, just kidding. It's an interesting world. People like Joe Rogan who says stay independent. But then there's like the draw of glitz and, resources, glamour. Fox News, maybe? No. OAN, Epic Times. I don't think CNN and MSNBC are coming a knocking You never know.
Majority leaders recognized.
Any senator who was not in the Senate chamber at the time the oath was administered to the other senators will make the fact known to the chair so that the oath may be administered as soon as possible to the senator.
The Sergeant at Arms will make the proclamation.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons are commanded to keep silent under pain of imprisonment while the Senate of the United States is convened as a court of impeachment to consider the articles of impeachment
I don't have
against
to stay silent.
Alejandro N. Mayorkas,
Hunter Biden busting with a
Secretary
crap
of
pipe
Homeland Security.
and a scarf.
Madam President,
Majority leaders recognized.
in a moment, I will ask unanimous consent to allow for debate time, to allow for Republicans to offer and have votes on trial resolutions, and allow for Republicans to offer and have votes on points of order. So, I ask unanimous consent that Senator Lee be recognized to offer a resolution that is the text of S-Res 624, the full Senate trial, that Senator Cruz be recognized to offer a resolution that is the text of S-Res 622, the trial committee, that there then be up to 60 minutes of debate on the resolutions, concurrently and equally divided between the two leaders or their designees, and following the use or yielding back of that time, the Senate vote on or in relation to the resolutions in the order listed, with no amendments to the resolutions in order. Further, that following the disposition of the trial resolutions, if they are not agreed to, Senator Schumer or his designee be recognized to make a motion to dismiss the first article of impeachment, that the motion be subject to only 7 points of order, that there be up to 60 minutes for
Senator
debate,
Chuck Schumer. He's
concurrently
been
and
there
equally divided
forever,
on the motion to dismiss and the points of
pretty
order.
universally
And that
hated.
following the use or yielding back of that time,
Never bumped into
the
a Chuck
Senate
Schumer
vote in
fan.
relation to the points of order in the order raised and the motion to dismiss. Further, that if Senator Schumer or his designee makes a motion to dismiss the second article of impeachment, that the motion be subject to only 1 point of order, that there be up to 60 minutes for debate, concurrently
Hear
and
ye.
equally divided, on the motion to dismiss and
rough
the points
Sergeant
of
at
order.
Arms. This wasn't
And that
what I was
following the
expecting
use
when
or
they said the
yielding
Sergeant
back
at
of that
Arms. Come on,
time,
where's our,
the Senate vote in relation to the points of order in the order raised and the motion to dismiss. Following that further disposition of Article 2, the Senate vote on the motion to adjourn the Court of Impeachment sine die. Finally, that there be up to 4 minutes for debate equally divided
literally
between
the
the two
first time I've
leaders
ever
or
seen
their
like anybody
designees
seated
prior
behind
to
somebody
each roll
who's
call
speaking in the
vote,
Senate. It's
all
usually just an
without
empty
intervening
chamber and the
action
senator
or
talking to
debate.
whoever's sitting
Is
at the.
there an objection?
I don't
Madam
know, right up
President.
there, President.
Senator from Missouri.
Reserving my right to object. To dismiss or table articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas without a trial here today or in committee is an unprecedented move by Senator Schumer. Never before in the history of our republic has the Senate dismissed or tabled articles of impeachment when the impeached individual was alive and had not resigned. As Senator Schumer said in 2020, quote, "A fair trial has witnesses. A fair trial has relevant documents as part of the record. A fair trial seeks the truth. Nothing more, nothing less." I will not assist Senator Schumer in setting our Constitution ablaze and bulldozing 200 years of precedent. Therefore, I object.
Madam President.
Objection is heard.
Madam President, I raise a point of order that Impeachment Article 1 does not allege conduct that rises to the level of a high crime or misdemeanor as required under Article 2,
How do you know
Section
without
4 of the
hearing
United States Constitution,
the evidence?
and is therefore unconstitutional.
He's like, I'm the judge and the
Under
jury,
the precedents
and
and
you're all here for
practices
no
of the
reason.
Senate, the chair has no power or authority to pass on such a point of order. The chair, therefore, under the precedents of the Senate, submits the question to the Senate. Is the point of order well taken? The Republican leader is recognized. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.
What? It's kind of hard to follow, too. Look at all the bodies in the chamber. Oh, they're going to zoom out for you. It's not even me. Come on, let's get everybody back. What we need is a senator who puts the asses in the seats. You know what I mean? So who's a good one? Who's a good senator? Hawley. Hawley gets the views, baby. So it looks like they're voting or they're counting to see if they are able to vote. A quorum call. I want to tell you the right thing. It's used to determine whether a quorum is present. So they're counting, I think. I don't understand that because they already did a roll call. Cannot. I can't run. It's too much. I do not like these people. Don't like them. I've considered very local runs in the past. And you have to do things like kiss the rings of people you don't like. That ain't me. Cheeks to the seats. You know, there's a Beltran down in Florida. There's a Mike Beltran. He's a state legislator. He's a good one. He too does not kiss the rings. Harvard guy. Yeah. Do you think they're, I don't know. Do you think they're going to table this or are they going to go through with it? Seems like, what do you say? He's going to let a couple of Republicans yell at him and then they're going to table it. You know. Well, this became anticlimactic, but that's okay. We can make our own fun in here. A quorum call is when it's used to determine whether a quorum is present. Okay, what's a quorum? It's like a roll call, kind of, from what I understand. But I don't understand. Whoa. I don't understand what they're actually doing because they know who's there and who's not there. I guess they're discussing their votes or how they're going to vote. Not exactly. Well, not exactly sure. I'm going to be right back. Here, let me make this a full screen for you. Sorry it wasn't the smoothest transition. I don't know what I did. See, this is why we need professional help. We'll be right back.
Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mr. Braun, Mrs. Brett, Mr. Brown, Mr. Budd, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Carden, Mr. Carper, Mr. Casey, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Coon, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cornyn, Mr. Cruz, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Mr. Rono, Mr. Hoven, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Manchin, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. Menendez, Mr. Berkeley, Mr. Moran, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Mr. Romney, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mrs. Shaheen, Ms. Sinema, Ms. Smith, Ms. Stallion,